It's no secret that belief systems can be completely corrupted. We see this in politics, we see this in religion, we see this in spirituality. Often they're corrupted by people who are fueled by resentment over truth, by a sense of entitlement over empathy, and all of these things create a disillusionment with the belief systems themselves instead of these individuals who are propagating these harmful beliefs, right? Because it's never the belief system itself that's at fault. It's how someone has corrupted it and polluted it. And that's why I want to focus today on a specific form of corruption going on in the spiritual world. And that is it's money manipulation. It is precisely, here's what it is. A spiritual leader will be talking about, for instance, the abundance mindset versus the scarcity mindset. Now, you may know that an abundance mindset is more likely to spend money to get money, right? You've heard that. An abundance mindset views that money is always flowing to me and love is always flowing to me. So an abundance mindset basically is operating from there's plenty and it's coming toward me, right? Whereas a scarcity mindset is when somebody always feels a lack, like, oh, I'm stuck, I'm a victim. They're marinating in the victimhood and the kind of impotence of feeling hopeless and at the whim of the world. So a scarcity mindset will be thinking, no money comes to me, everyone leaves me, I'm abandoned, money doesn't grow on trees. And so anyway, often spiritual leaders will take the kernels of truth from, oh, it's good to have an abundant mindset, very true. They'll take that kernel of truth and they will pollute it to serve their own sense of entitlement. How does this work? Well, a spiritual leader will say, you need to prepay me a significant amount of money that may even be beyond your means in order to prove that you're in an abundance mindset, and in order to prove that you really want to invest in yourself. Because if you don't, oh, I'm not going to give you as much help because you are in a scarcity mindset, which ultimately is a shaming tactic to say you are in a scarcity mindset and you're unenlightened, right? Now, what is this doing? This is obviously a manipulation tactic, and it's a very good one. Why? All manipulation tactics that are good rely on that kernel of truth and then pollute it to serve that manipulator's true reason, which is they want to make a lot of money up front. And they want to do it without dispelling wisdom up front, right? They want to get that fast fix of money. And so this is how this is how money as a currency and money flowing to me in abundance mindset, those concepts are polluted by a lot of spiritual coaches and teachers in the forum today. And you really got to watch out for it because they prey on vulnerable people who are often really hoping to get out of their current scarcity and into abundance. And so they're very susceptible to being manipulated into that, oh, I've got to be better. And that's the thing about self-help is if you have a tendency to doubt yourself and to want to outsource your thinking to a guru or a belief system, then you are going to be vulnerable to falling for their manipulative tactics because they are going to take advantage of that tendency to doubt yourself and outsource your thinking, right? You've got to have a strong frame of what I believe and what I need and what I can afford is the facts and is what I can do. You believe in your frame. There's this idea that you think that by giving into this person's abundance mindset of paying them a lot, that you're proving to them your commitment, right? You think, I'm going to prove to them that I'm making an investment and that I'm in an abundance mindset. Well, that's a sign of a corrupt coach because A corrupt coach is going to offer you wisdom and insight, and that by proving the value to you, you will then invest, right? It won't be this thing where there's this manipulative tactic that says you're either gonna pay me a lot or you're unenlightened. That's not operating from goodwill. That's not operating from really reality, because the fact is when we get paid, we have money going to bills and rent, and then we have money left over for our other commitments. And we may be making car payments, we've been making insurance payments. I mean, we got a lot to pay off before we finally have the extra money to give to coaching. So the reality is you really can't pay up front. It's not a matter of abundance or scarcity mindset. It's not a mindset, it's reality. A is A, right? Objective reality. Anyway, that's one of the ways that coaches will manipulate you with that money thing. Another thing that I notice with the money mindset is that there is a sense of entitlement about money, that a coach will act as though that is their abundance mindset, like money is always flowing to me. But underneath that, you'll notice there's an entitlement there that's like, I deserve money and I deserve it for doing the bare minimum. That to me is another red flag of using and polluting money as a currency in actually a self-centered motive. For instance, I also got a service. It was for energy cord cutting, and I didn't get to speak to the person providing the service directly. They just sent me an email, and to me, I found that a little bit of a pay up front and then an excuse to kind of really just deliver in a way that could be minimal, right? And you get what you pay for, right? But you have to be aware of how a lot of these guru types, they have a sense of entitlement, and they are not really honoring a certain protocol in the professional world that is actually thinking of themselves in terms of a transaction obligation. There's kind of a, if you're fooled by me, then I just get the money. There's kind of a, there's not a paradigm and a protocol in play that can be a checks and balances for their behavior. And so corrupt people are going to be corrupt, right? Players are going to play. People who have a sense of empathy are obviously going to operate in that, and they're going to have an obligatory and sense of responsibility toward honoring. If you pay them, they'll want to give you back as much insight, wisdom, and value as possible. And the way that you can identify somebody that is in the spiritual community and operating with an actual healthy view toward money, and I don't mean claiming healthy view, I mean a legitimate healthy view, is that they are offering a lot of value for free, so that when you see that, there's a sense of credibility established. So a person that offers credibility and value is going to have a legitimate website. It's going to have testimonials of clients who say, thank you for helping me, you offered me a lot of value. They're going to have a consistent, constant content. They're going to have videos, they're going to have a podcast, they're going to have a blog, and it's going to be very clear that they are engaged in curiosity and continual search for truth and wisdom, and all of that is going to reveal that they offer that value because they're excited about it, and this is their passion. And then it's going to, when you do finally think, you know what, this person really offers a lot of content that resonates, I'm going to pay them, it's going to feel as though you are already familiar with their work, and then you just want that extra one-on-one, or maybe it's a class, whatever it may be. You're going to feel familiar, and you're going to already have a sense of credibility from the fact that they release a lot of content. Now, and another thing is that it's their own content, it's their own perspective that they're perpetrating. It's not just them recycling views of other common spiritual bromides in order to establish legitimacy. And that brings us to, let's look at the red flags of somebody who does not have a healthy relationship with that providing value and then getting money. And instead it's kind of somebody that's like, give me money and I deserve it because I have a sense of entitlement. Okay, those people, you're going to see that their page is very few posts and quotes by them. And if it is a quote by them, it will be very simplistic and shallow. Like, it's not going to really delve deep. It's going to seem to kind of, it's just going to be kind of that easy quote that anybody, like, that still is kind of in the realm of cliche. Like, it will still have some kind of quote that's like, sexual energy is creative energy. It's like, that's pretty much established as a basic truth. It's really not that revelatory. So you'll see that will be like maybe the one nugget they'll have from themselves, but they'll have tons of content from other creators and writers and philosophers that it's almost like they can ride the coattails of those established people with credibility in order to seem legitimate, right? But as you'll navigate, you'll see, okay, well, they don't have testimonials that are saying, oh, this coach provided me with a lot of value. You won't see that they have a website that offers, here are my packages. Here are my coaching packages. Here are my courses. Here are my videos. Here are my blogs. Here's my ebooks. Here's my plan. Here's, that a credible coach is going to have so much already public that when you finally go to the one-on-one stage, you already have a familiarity with their philosophy and what they can offer you as value. Now, and remember, I'm establishing these red flags and these green lights for coaches because, again, like I say, if a coach is relying on really talking a lot about how invest in yourself, give me a lot of money upfront, prepay, and if they're saying that, but you're thinking to yourself, okay, this is vague though. I'm not familiar with really what their content is. I mean, they have a few videos of them saying, talking about coffee, and they have a few videos of them talking about sexual energy. But ultimately, I'm not sure I get a grasp on their program and what kind of value it can offer me and what kind of insights beyond just telling me things that are pretty well established in the belief systems, right? So I think this is really important because I think that while we talk a lot about the corruption of belief systems, we need to really talk about it now, because now we're in as the internet is kind of the Wild West, and we now have this Wild West of tons of coaching and services and people who, they're posing perhaps as a legitimate source of truth, wisdom, insight, and help, but they may be coming from a place of entitlement when it comes to money, and therefore they may not really offer you a reciprocal exchange. They may be a huge, a person that wants money and then wants to kind of dangle and bullshit you from then on, right? So it's important to realize that, because there's so many kinds of spiritual bypassing, and there's so many kinds of ways to pollute spiritual bromides to then serve a source of entitlement and grandiosity. And indeed, we have to watch out for that, because there's a tendency to give spiritual people, if you already subscribe to a lot of the beliefs, there's a tendency to give them the benefit of the doubt and to assume that they're coming from the same code of ethics as you are. And there might be even a tendency to think, well, if they're sharing this quote that is a quote that seems to represent an empathic viewpoint, then they must be empathic. But remember, you need to look at their content themselves, what they individually emphasize, what their actual writing and video soul is saying, because that's what's revealing, not how they can copy and recycle and regurgitate content that is already persuasive and kind of classic and already establishes legitimacy. The legitimacy they will establish will be through their testimonials, their own content, and their curiosity toward not only you as a potential prospective client, but also toward life in general. If they have really limited curiosity in the world and are preoccupied with themselves, that's a red flag. And so be aware of how money as a currency is corrupted. Again, abundance mindset versus the reality. An abundance mindset, you may just have to make payments, doesn't have any reflection on you that you're less than or unenlightened. You may just simply have to make those payments and not be able to prepay to somebody all at once, right? So I think it's important to realize this, and I hope this empowers you in any of these kind of increased spiritual endeavors with coaches, healers, whether it's one-on-one or a course. And don't worry, I will be getting in more depth with what I have brought up today about a very specific red flag coaching situation.